have a morning assembly where you go to parade.
Yes.
And when you go to parade, you'll be inspected. Then you go for worship.
Okay.
Very briefly. And during that time, Sunday school was part of the school curriculum.
Okay.
Because every Sunday, early in the morning, we used to come to school, and we go for classes, just like the way the school we used to go for school. And then there was Sunday school. I remember those teachers who taught me. Then there was the catechism. They taught catechism for baptism. That's how I got to know about Christianity, and later on after catechism classes, I was baptized.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what really prompted you? Sometimes, my experience in the ministry and with so many other ministers is that there is that one particular minister who stirred your call.
I can use two ministers. One, the late Jacob Mogo, Jokona Mogo, he is the one who baptized me. And I remember when he came to our primary school, and he said anybody who was above 12 years, we were taken to church. That's my first time I saw a minister. He had a motorbike. It was in red in color, and he had a collar, a dog collar. Then he talked to us, and he told us about the Christianity, about the baptism. Then later on, when I went to primary school and secondary school, we had the minister, the late Reverend Geoffrey, who later on also ceremonized my marriage. When I received the call when I was working with the Kenya Tea Development Authority. In my call, I would say that it was developmental. It is something that had come, as I've just said, about from the morning assembly, Sunday school, catechism, and being a Sunday school teacher. And I went to high school. And high school, I was the chairman of the Christian Union. And when I was employed by the Kenya Tea Development Authority, is when I started thinking about how I can thank God for and how I can actually, because getting to Form 4 at that time, the struggles I went through. So it was just like a thanksgiving to God, and asking, how would I get more involved in your work? Because now I'm looking up for a career. I'm looking now, I want to become a family man. I want to start earning, doing some investment. How am I going to involve you in my ministry and also in my life? It is when I felt that I needed to go to St. Paul's. But I have heard about, there was one time, some student from St. Paul's came to talk to us. That's why I came to know about St. Paul's. One of our ministers, who used to be, I don't want to mention his name, broadcaster, he's the one who spoke to us. And that's why I came to know about St. Paul's, about the ministry. So when I went to see everybody Kanga, already I knew about the ministry, about St. Paul's. I shared with him about my call, my experience, and how I felt God is calling me. And he really helped me a lot.
Now, which year was that?
That was 1976.
1976?
Yes.
Wow, that's quite a while back.
Yes,
So,
1976.
And after you shared about the call with the Reverend Kanga, at what point did you go to St. Paul's?
1977, I went for an interview.
Yes.
I think I was at that age, and I was very glad in the church. According to the church standard, I don't know which way. That's what they told me, that I'm very clean.
Yes.
Even I would not even know what are the codes of the church when I was asked. I remember a very simple question. A very simple question. So when the report came, by then the appointment. The training committee. He was a Muzungu, Dr. Fewport.
Okay.
He wrote a very good letter. He gave me a copy. That one was given to Dr. Joya. Whoever. And later on, Later on, the session sat and they said that they would want to employ me. Isn't it? Yes, because I had already shown the call.
Okay.
Tell me to grow and to mature. Yes. So I did for about 2 years, 78 and 79. I went again in 79. This time I passed.
Okay.
In 1980 is when I joined, St. Paul's.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when were you ordained?
So then in 1984.
Okay.
Yes. 2nd September 1984.
By which presbytery?
It was the newest presbytery, the 9th presbytery in Menti.
In
From
Menti?
Cambodia. Yes,
Wow.
in Menti.
Wow.
Kanyakini.
Okay.
Yeah.
The 9th presbytery.
Yes, by then, yes. There were only 8 when we were in school. It was the
Yes.
newest, yes, that one is.
And today we are talking about 59.
15 or 58, okay.
59.
All right. Oh.
Yes,
I'm
actually
surprised.
59. So, in which presbyteries and parishes did you serve during your life as an active minister?
I served 9 parishes, and I know them by name. And I did, in 2 parishes, I did only 5 years, and the rest I did 3 years. But there were 2 parishes I did only 1 year, Buruburu and Meharati.
Okay.
So in total, I served 11 parishes during my life as a minister.
Which one and which ones?
The one I served there.
You started in Imenti, where you
Imenti.
Imenti.
And then after that, we went to Kihumbwini. We went to Nakuru, in Nyandarua. When I was in Naivasha, that's where I was. Is when I went back to St. Paul's.
Yes.
Or to St. Paul's. I was posted Meharati. From Meharati, I went to Ndeya. And after Ndeya, I went to Makupa.
Okay.
In Pwani. It is at Pwani I got a scholarship to go to the Reformed Theological Seminary. I went there for 2 years. I came back. I was posted Western Kenya by then, PCA Yubo Kenya. I served there for 3 years. Then I got a scholarship to go and do my doctorate at 206. Then after that, I came back. It's when I went for 1 year at Buruburu. Then after Buruburu, I went to St. Andrews.
Okay.
Which I was there for 5 years. After St. Andrews, I went to Kenol, then Kenol to Isli, where I retired.
Okay, you retired in Isri.
Yes, emeritus of Isli.
Now that is Nairobi Central?
That's Nairobi Central, yes. Nairobi Central.
Your presbytery.
Yeah.
And you're still a member there?
Yes, I am a member of Nairobi Central, attached to Isli.
Okay. Now, during your life in active ministry and having served all those presbyteries and parishes, 11 of them, what can you say are the main challenges or one key challenge that you experienced in the ministry that you would like to share with us?
Okay. One of my first challenge was that I don't want to talk much about that because by the grace of God we are able to survive. The first year in the ministry, we never got a salary. For 8 months. For 8 months, almost 8 months, we never got a salary. That was a very big challenge. We were very young.
Yeah, I know.
In the ministry. But we were able to survive. That was a big, big challenge. At some point, I requested my wife whether I could take her home. And she posed a question to me and asked me, tell me, how many days have we gone hungry? Because you're not getting a salary.
Yes.
How many tons of clothes do we have? Do we have our shoes? Are they worn out? No, even our clothes. What are you talking about? Let's continue serving the Lord. The other challenge was frequent transfers.
Frequent transfers, yeah.
And the 2 parishes I could not be able to serve with my family. Western Kenya and even Mombasa, Makuba.
Okay.
And Ndeya for 3 parishes. So it was not very easy to serve without your family. Like in Mombasa or Western, I used to work for 3 weeks. And I work even on Monday. So that they could have 1 week to go home.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where was your family then?
By God's grace, we were able, when we left Keumbwine, we went to Nyandarua, we were able to acquire a piece of land, and I was able to build a house, a family house.
Where at Keumbwine?
No, when we left Keumbwine, and we went to Nyandarua, which was now in Nakuru Presbytery. Okay. We were stationed in Naivasha, which was the headquarters.
Okay.
And we had a land in Donyojeru, that is North Kinangop. So we were able to build a house for us.
Yes.
Yes. So that's where I used to leave them.
Okay.
Even when I went for studies. Yeah.
Okay. So the 2 times you went out for studies, you never went with your family?
No. It's only my wife who used to come during the time of the graduation for 1 month.
Okay.
Yes.
What would you recommend now that you experience that kind of a life away outside the country without your family? Would you recommend that somebody goes without his family?
No, the calling is so powerful. And by God's grace, you can be able to overcome some of the temptations, some of the challenges. But what I advise that it was possible if somebody would go with his family, and even also, locally, you locally take your studies here, locally, because. My first time, I felt somebody who had already been uprooted from your family, from your country.
Yes.
You feel that you are a stranger. But I thank God for that interaction also. The culture, the education, another system of education.
Yes.
And what I shared with those other students from other part of the world. Yes.
Yeah. Because I'm imagining a situation whereby you are out there, outside the country, away from your family, and the culture shock that you experience, and then you don't even know where to go for what in a new environment, and you have no person that you can call a friend or a relative. You don't know anybody except your teachers. The transition must have been quite challenging, and especially when you don't have anybody to share your challenges with.
I think the seminary, they used to pair you with somebody else. They used to have some student who they help you even to identify the church, even when you don't want to go for shopping and doing other things now. For about 3 weeks or so, you go a process of orientation about the challenges. I remember even one time during the lunch hour, the police officer from Jackson police station. He used to come and tell us about the security in America, and I remember how he told us the importance of answering a call, not ignoring a call, how important it is, and how you can save life, and even you can save yourself. So the seminary itself used to prepare you. Even I remember there was even somebody from the river, because of the taxation, come and tell you about paying of taxes, all those things. The seminary itself used to prepare you and to give you a very good orientation. Okay. But what I did, I made sure that I had a landline phone back in in Kinangop, because I wanted every week to speak to my wife and also to my family. Yes. Okay. And every Sunday at 2 in Kenya, and there it was 6 o'clock. I used to talk with them. Yes.
Okay. But it must have been quite lonely to be as a full-time student.
Of course, yes. But with God's grace, we were able to overcome.
Yes. Yeah. Now, Mchungaji, I still want to go back to that time when you went for studies, and you have a landline with your family in Nyandarua, and you used to call them. What were the children saying to you? Or how did you feel when you talked to the children?
What we used to do, there are 5 of them, and then I would make sure I speak to every child. Yeah. They'll start with the eldest, who was mother. But what surprised me was that the children, when they take the phone, the first question will ask you, Dad, when are you coming back home? They will not ask you, how is America? What gifts will you bring to me? What are you doing there in the U.S.?
It's when will you come back?
When you come back. So it was not very easy, but you try to make them understand
Yes,
why did
yes,
you go to school even at that, at that age.
Mm.
I used to speak on them on Sunday. That on Wednesdays in the evening, I will make sure I speak to my wife,
Okay.
and she also asks you. She asks you why. Why did you decide to go and leave our family? Do you know some of the questions that they actually ask me, I cannot be able to answer them. It is only you need when you come back to answer them, why are you in school? Why are you going to school with them together? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I know. I'm asking you that question because I have heard those stories from ministers who have come, who have gone to the US without their families, and I know they are not easy. They are not easy questions. So, Reverend Dr. Gadairo, tell us how you prepared yourself for retirement. Because you did not just wake up and say that I'm going home from a parish house.
Okay, now let me say that I started, preparing for my retirement when I was looking for the first scholarship, because I got to, two scholarship. When I looked for the piece of land, and I was able to build a house for my family, and when I went to study, I made sure that I did a permanent house. But mainly when I came in 2008, I was about 10 years now to go to retirement.
Okay.
When I came to Buruburu and I went to St. Andrews. My wife had some challenges because of the cold weather in North Kinangop. He had some mild arthritis. And we felt that we are not going to settle in Nyandarua at our old age. It is when we started now thinking about how, because our students were still in school, they were, let me say they were already at the campus. They were with us there. One was at the Jaquar, the other one was the Technical University. And we were with them there. It is when we started now preparing for retirement. How did we prepare for that? The church had an MOU with the equity.
Okay.
Where you'd walk into the bank and you get a loan without any surety. Your retirement benefits with the surety.
Okay.
So I just walked at the Equity Bank, and I was given the money that I was able to buy 2 plots at Umoja. And then, although at that time we wanted to do a project that would be bring in some income to us. That was the aim at that particular time. But later on, we found that we need now to think about how we could be able to get a plot where we could be able to build our urban home, because already we had a rural home in Kinangop. And when I left, St. Andrews to 2012, in 2013, I was in the Canal. 2014 is when we bought the plot where we are today.
Okay.
And we thank God, because after 2 years, we were able to do the foundation of this house where we are living today. So that's how we prepared ourselves to have a home here. And also, we were also trying to see whether they could be able to do a project that would be income generating. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you do that?
That we were able to buy other 2 plots, and we have already now done 2 units, 2 units of 3 bedroom. We are, by God's grace, possibly by this year we may be able to finish them. But those are purposely for the income. Yes.
Okay.
The other thing that I did as part of my preparation was that I was teaching part-time at Graduate College. So I was preparing myself that immediately when I retire, I will continue. And I did that for about 2 years. But with the corona, with the COVID, you see the college, closed down. So I also did, the following year, I did mediation, which has really occupied me. I do mediation in succession cases, in environmental issues, and children and commercial. This has also kept me going from that time. And from the time I retired, then doing now another project for the family and being with my wife and children at home.
Okay. So mediation kind of keeps you busy.
It is very involving. It's very involving.
Okay.
Because, for example, if you're doing a case from a certain community, I don't want to mention, you make sure, because you must understand the community, you must do some reading. If there's the act like a succession, you need to go, although the lawyers who give you the summary of the case, you need to know that act, if it is to do with education and whatever, you need to have some reading. Yes.
How did you find the transition from active ministry into now mediation or conflict resolution?
Brother, it's my brother. It is like a rite of passage.
Yeah, okay.
It's like it is actually like a rite of passage. That's transition. I remember I used to wake up at 4 a.m. I do my devotion, like towards the retirement. I was writing. I've done a book here in my library here, and I also have got some manuscript. It's as if I have done 2 books now. I got one to publish. So I used to wake up very early in the morning, and I would do some some devotion, and also I would do some writing when my mind is very clear. It's very clear, in the morning. I think I would leave my study room at around 6 o'clock. That's when I would even go. I would then go. We have prayers. We would take our breakfast and go. Now at once, even when I went to Buruburu and even when I went to Isli, even when I went to Tukeno, I used to do the same. Actually, even changing your phone, your alarm, instead of waking an hour at 4, is now 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock. And somebody who was starting the day from 4 to 8 o'clock. Yeah. And the whole day you are occupied. And all at once. Do you know even your body will ache? You sleep. Oversleep. Do you know, for the first time I started going to gym.
Okay.
Because you feel that you have got a lot of energy, a lot of free time, and you want to relax. Yes. And walking, jogging, and a time I did not have. Even I'll have more time now to be with my wife, because the children, they're already now mature. Yes. She owns a very small business. I'll make sure that before she comes home, I'm going to pick her up. Either I walk, if they're having a luggage, if you're having something to carry, I'll drive there. And we come together. So I see this is the only time that even I was able to interact more with my wife and members of the family. Yes.
Okay. So now let's go back to the issue of mediation. Considering something now that you experienced innate, and you have been able to transition from active ministry to mediation, is it something that you would recommend to other ministers?
I would, not only to ministers and in the leadership of the church, because it is really very, very important. Because some of the issues that are affecting our marriages, our families, you'll be able to learn them. You'll be given some skills, how to go about it. And one thing that I like about mediation is that the answers, they are with you. You, both of you, who are having a case. You have the answers. You are the one who make the judgment. You are the one who do the agreement. The give and take.
Yes.
And I like that kind of the atmosphere. Where you are not coerced by anybody. It is you doing it. Giving what is best for you and what you feel is going to make you happy. Yeah.
And creating a conducive environment for such an undertaking.
Yes.
Now, Dr. Gadairo, you occupy the unique position in ministry of being a minister who has retired but has been succeeded in ministry by his son. That does not happen to many of us. How did you feel when your son came and told you that I have a call to join the ordained ministry?
I remember one incident, and we thank God because the God who calls is not us who called him. How one time he cried when he was transferred from Kehubwinye to Nyandarua to live with his friends, and where he was also to begin his schooling. And he cried and he was asking many questions. Even I remember, even one time he was in the hospital, we asked him where he comes from. He was saying he's coming from Kehubwinye. When I was in the US, I would like letters to him. And you tell me, I'm still noting those places, those big cities you're telling us that you have visited. I didn't know what he really meant about that. The other thing is that we used to ride on a bicycle with him to go particularly in Nyandarua and there to serve Holy Communion, even go to church. And one time he asked me, Dad, you only give bread only to the adults. Why don't you give children? You've never given somebody with the bread. We're not of age. You're not of age.
Okay.
So when those experiences that we went through with him and other things now, we did not expect that he would like the ministry. With those transfers and the struggles we used to go. But possibly God was preparing him for that ministry. Because that is exactly what he's doing. So we thank God for calling him to this ministry and to take over from us. And we are encouraging him and praying with him. And even those others that the Lord may wish to call. Yes.
Yeah. And it's a good feeling, I bet.
Daktari, it is a joy of every parent.
Yes.
To see your child grow and take responsibility, and that child being on his or her own.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And not just any responsibility.
Yes.
Being in the church and not in the world.
Yes.
Wow. So now, Dr. Kadairo, there's still some of us who are yet to retire. Take a minute, face the camera, and give a word of advice to the active ministers.
It's okay. One, for the time that I have retired now for 6 years, I have not been so much involved in preaching the word of God. I've been seated in the pews and attending funerals and marriages. And one of the things I would advise them, it is to prepare and to make yourself available to preach the word of God. And speak the truth of the word of God. You know, the Great Commission, you have been commissioned to go and preach the word. That's one area that's really helped me in my ministry. I'm not accusing anybody, but I've heard some of us in funerals and other places, somebody not really prepared. We're given a gathering, people from all over, but the kind of message is not prepared. So preparing for the word of God and how God is going to use you. The other challenge is that issues about the family and the spouse, creating a relationship with your wife and children. Because after retirement, you'll be closer to them more than any other time, how to live with them. The other thing is about worship. The way the worship is now in the church, we have borrowed so much. We have lost our tradition. And I don't see a very orderly worship in our churches. And I don't know whether the church should think of revising or having in the prayer book. We need the liturgy back to church. We don't have an order. Let's try to see that we have ordered our traditions. We are back to them. We don't borrow so much. Yeah, we can compare, yes. We can borrow a leaf. But we know so we are church with a theology and tradition. And we are losing this. We are losing this. These are some of the things that I have experienced for that short time. I think that the issues when you go to the courts of the church, that discipline we used to have for decision that we have made, a present procedure, and be subjected to the decisions and carrying them on and all. I see a kind of lapse. Where even the way we address the moderator and the seat itself, I find such as some of the lapses. But those are some of the things we need to to observe as young ministers, and finally prepare for retirement.
Prepare for retirement.
Prepare.
Yeah, prepare
Psychologically, do some investment.
Yeah.
As you educate your children, and make sure your relationship with your spouse. I'm not saying that I've got a problem with my wife. You spend more time. I will spend more time now, more than any other time at my retirement. I remember we got married when we were at St. Paul's, and we went now to the ministry. This is the only time that we have been together. So if I had not prepared myself with good relationship, I'll be in trouble. But now, slowly, I did all that, and now we are together. You find us here, you can see the picture. We are together, some of us. So if you don't have enough time for honeymoon at the beginning, we have now an extended one now.
Gotta get honeymoon, eh?
Yes, we're actually together. Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gadairo, for creating time to share with us your experience and words of advice to those of us that are still active in ministry, and especially to let us know who you are. Some people just hear of Reverend Dr. Gadairo, but they don't know that. We don't know your background. Now we know, and now we understand what you do in retirement. And it's a challenge that we don't just wake up and retire. We need to prepare and also try to get something to do in retirement. Right now, what you just taught us that you are doing in terms of mediation. So God bless you so much and give you more days to keep supporting us, praying for us, and advising us. God bless you.
God bless you.